So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite characters from the Sonic series. Knuckles the Echidna was brought up as a request. A couple of you guys wanted to see him, and even from my Sonic video and just some discussions and having him in the universe pack and one of my other universe pack, well, the other separate series, I put Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie version of Sonic the Hedgehog, in my universe pack as a potential character that could be in the game, and I also made a moveset for him way before I even decided to put him into universe pack. But now we're going to be talking about the tough, powerful Knuckles the Echidna, the movie version of Knuckles the Echidna from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I hope you guys really enjoy this, and I really had fun making this, and I was utilizing different moves that he had from Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and just some of the things that I think he can really be able to do, and maybe some of the retro games that were older that existed way before, long before Sonic Adventure came out for the Sega Dreamcast that I played. It's still one of the best Sonic games to play. If you haven't played it, the Sonic Adventure series is one of my favorites Sonic games. Of course, Sonic Frontiers is great and definitely worth buying. I enjoyed that game too. Can't wait to play that DLC next year. And then on top of that, I want to also throw in Sonic Heroes, which is another top favorite in my top 3 for Sonic games. But we're not talking about that. But I just wanted to share that. But we're going to be talking about Knuckles the Echidna. Let's just bring up the roster, just as usual, so everybody can see what the roster looks like right now.
Your brawler.
And just as always, I hope there's more characters after Rocco, and they don't settle with just him when you have all these iconic characters that's on the screen, where you can be able to expand and get villains to join the likes of Shredder to be able to get into the game. But now, let's start talking about his backstory. We're just gonna leave it right here because he's the newest character that we got recently, or a few months ago. His backstory, if you don't know who Knuckles is, if you haven't played a Sonic game before, it's some people out there haven't played some of these games before, and I just love just giving the backstory for each character that gets requested from you guys, he or she, or any sort of series that I haven't seen or heard of, or a character. I just want to always just share the backstory before I get started in sharing my ideas. But Knuckles is Sonic's best friend and former rival, and as well as being known as the guardian of the Master Emerald. Knuckles protects this thing with his life, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to make sure the Master Emerald is safe, and he will fight anyone that gets in his way and tries to do any sort of harm and take the Master Emerald and to cause some kind of ruckus on his home, or basically his territory, which he basically is supposed to just stay there forever. I guess that's his destiny, to be on Angel Island forever and stay up there on Angel Island. And the Master Emerald, just to share, the Master Emerald is the power source. The Master Emerald is the source of keeping the Angel Island floating above. And if you play Sonic Adventure, you'll be able to find that out. I didn't really know the special effects of it, and realized that it was the source, or the power source, or just the life of Angel Island, the reason why it stays up in the air and it keeps it afloat. So Knuckles is just basically not even just his friend and his former rival, but he's just this guardian of the Master Emerald, and it's a powerful agent relic, part of Angel Island. So it's his duty and his destiny and what he does. And you want to find Knuckles, you want to come on over to the Angel Island, but you want to make sure you don't want to mess with that Master Emerald, because he gonna try to shut you down. So he's the sole survivor of the Echidna clan, so I ended up finding that out too. So that's just some additional things about him. So the Echidnas is a different sort of species, or a different sort of type of characters that you find out from playing these games, and where hence he has came from. So that's his backstory. And funny thing is that I mentioned Angel Island. We're gonna get ready to get into the stages now. I put Angel Island as one of the main stages that could come out with his DLC, and since it's his home, it's where he belongs. It's his destiny. definitely a good idea for the devs to come out with Knuckles. If they do, with the movie version of Knuckles the Echidna, you want to include Angel Island, and I'm sure it's gonna look good. It'll look great in this game, and I could just definitely imagine it just being a playable stage. And just look at these character models with the colors; they look great. Just the colors and everything else, just even with some of these costumes and these skins, for example, it's gonna look great. So Angel Island, I don't want to just stop with just that. Well, just Angel Island would just be the quick stage and the go-to stage for this game or for this DLC package. I wanted to also mention Green Hill Zone that can also be bundled with Sonic the Hedgehog, whichever character that they come out with, whether it's Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. The Green Hill Zone is definitely another good classic go-to for this character, for the Sonic series, and it pays tribute to the Sonic series anyway. But Angel Island is just the highest priority. I would definitely try to get that stage to be bundled in with Knuckles. But last but not least, I had to kick it back to Sonic Adventure. As I mentioned, I was thinking about the Mystic Ruins, because in the Mystic Ruins and Sonic Adventure, that's where you get to find Angel Island, and you get to find, once you cross that bridge, you're going to be able to find that Master Emerald sitting up at the top. So they can implement, if you can't really get Angel Island, you can get a little bit of the Mystic Ruins as a little bit of an additional add-on or additional space to be included with the stage itself to contain the Master Emerald. And I could definitely visually see that. Knuckles comes out into the game, or just by some chance, he comes out as a DLC character, as a playable character, and then when you go on his stage, you got the Master Emerald up in the background, just shining. That'll be perfect. Don't you guys think? So I could definitely visually see the Angel Island with the Master Emerald in the background. But those are all the 3 stages that I end up selecting for him. And now it's time for the costumes, since we already got, one of them already displayed on the screen with SpongeBob. I wanted to just do something a little bit different. I didn't even know. I was about to get ready to say we could just play around with the color variations. I wanted to do some more digging, and I forgot about these particular forms for Knuckles. Super Knuckles could be an iconic skin, and he's gained these forms. I'm gonna just put them right there and just put them both and mention them right now. Then we're gonna head into the taunts, voice lines, and just some quotes that he could say with his animations and stuff. But for the costumes, I put Super Knuckles and Hyper Knuckles. So both of these forms are gained and harnessed through the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds in the Sonic series. Now, from Super Knuckles, funny thing is, I actually put this in a moveset, but I'm going to say that for later, because I don't want to spoil everything. But Super Knuckles, if it's not part of his moveset, of course, these particular forms could be a costume for him. And it changes the color and look of Knuckles. He's not going to look the same. So Super Knuckles, once he gets the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, he gets this golden energy around him. And then with Hyper Knuckles, he's like a magenta color. So he's a little bit pink. And he gets this from the power of the Chaos Emeralds and the power rings. So I'm not sure what kind of costume they'll probably be able to pick. But I would definitely if none of those forms from Super Knuckles and Hyper Knuckles that he gets from Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3, the video games, it'll be a perfect tribute to those games for the little throwback, for the retro, because he apparently can get those forms, Super Knuckles and Hyper Knuckles, as costumes. That could be a potential color for him. So see how he's pink? Look at Patrick, for example. It can look something like how Patrick looks in this game from his color for Hyper Knuckles. So it'll look good. So it definitely fit as a costume. So either one of those, if possible. And if not, they'll probably just change the color of his shoes. They could change the color of his gloves. If they can't get Hyper Knuckles or Super Knuckles as a potential costume, change the color of his shoes, change the color of his gloves, and maybe his eye colors can change. He has purple eyes, but maybe his eye colors can change up, and you can maybe adjust and edit for color variations. I didn't put it in my ideas, but just something additional out there to throw just for the sake of it, just in case they can't make none of his transformations a potential alternate costume or a different look for his skin. So it's just an additional idea. Now it's time for the animations and taunts. He has so many different quotes. I wanted to do some digging and do mention some of the quotes that he says in the movies. I know I'm going to go out of order, and even some of the ones that he says in front of video games as well for Sonic Adventure and stuff. But since it's the movie version of Knuckles, this is how I roll. And then when he was battling against Sonic, do I look like I need your power? It's something like that he can say. And then just some other ones that I put in here. I'm 1,000,000% muscles. He could say some of that in the arcade. Where you go up against him, you run into him in the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl arcade. That could be extended in a little bit longer than what it is right now. He could say those kind of voice lines. And then, I must protect the Master Emerald. And that's just iconic for him because that's his duty. That's what he does. And that's what he's gonna protect the Master Emerald with his life. And he's willing to give up anything and go through anybody he has to get it done. So some additional ones, just for a little, this might be a little bit too long, but this is more arcadey. I'm an Echidna, trained since birth in all forms of lethal combat, destined to restore honor to my tribe, and willing to destroy anything that gets in my way. That could be something that he could say during like an arcade, because some of these characters have longer quotes and voice lines. And then some other different things. I'll probably be on this floating island forever, guarding the Master Emerald. It sounds like an arcade quote. Just things like that. And then just some taunts I just threw in here in the mix up. He can be, you can see how he has his knuckles. He could just be cracking his knuckles and his spiky fist. He could do like a fist pointing. It made me think of when I was thinking about this taunts for a little bit. See how Shredder does the little thumbs down a little bit? Surrender! Surrender! Just the way he says it. He could do something like that, but not with a thumbs down. He could just have his fist out or point his spiky fist towards the opponent. That could be a nice little quick taunt that can work. And then he can do a little fist bumping. He could just be bumping his spiky fist together in preparation. And he does that in some of these video games. I forgot some of the Sonic games he does it. I was about to say Sonic Advance, something like that. Sonic Battle, Sonic Advance from the GBA. I don't know. Just things like that that I mixed in there for some potential taunts. So there's some animations, taunts, and some quotes in the mix that I have, listed here if y'all want to check it out. And maybe you guys can have some other ideas for taunts that he could do. But this is my favorite part. The moveset that I made for him pays tribute to what he does in these games, and it makes it even more realistic because it fits his character. So we'll just keep it on. Let's put it on. Let me see. Just for some iconic costumes I like in this game, and it can look just as good as Danny Phantom's, and even better with just hopefully some alternate costumes for Knuckles. But anyway, we'll just put it on him for now. So just for starters, I was playing like the Sonic Adventure game, and his shovel claw is definitely the first move I wanted to start with because he can dig underground. Knuckles, with his shovel claw ability, he can burrow. I was about to say Knuckles can knuckle underground. Alright, but Knuckles can burrow underground for a limited amount of time using the spikes on his fist. And then I didn't want to just give him that. It'd be a little bit basic. Or he could just dig underground and he'd just be able to hide from the opponent and take cover. But I wanted to mix it in, so when he digs under the ground with his shovel claw, he can come out of the ground launching with a powerful launching punch to send enemies into the air. So I thought that'll be really cool. You come out and do like a little flying uppercut that's going straight towards in the air. It'll be a good little attack that you can use to surprise the opponent. And then you can also take cover from projectiles, and if you're dealing with more than one player on the field, you can get that person that has their guard down, they're too distracted, you can take advantage and get the kill. But spiky face, I put that as a little bit of a basic combo. Made me think of a little Sonic Adventure combo instead of just with the charging part, so I took that out of it. So Knuckles can punch the enemy in front. He punches the enemy in front with his fist up to 3 times for a 3-hit combo attack. So of course he's gonna have that as his basic attack with his spiky fist. He's gonna utilize that. The next move, the cannonball. I was trying to see if someone else had something like that, that dropped down, it was Patrick. So I'm not sure if that's part of the name of his moveset. See how he just drops down and he's in that little bit of an ice cream cone? When he was competing against SpongeBob, it was SpongeBob versus Patrick in the ring. Best friends battling it out. So I put Cannonball as an aerial attack, so while he's in midair, Knuckles can quickly dive down onto the enemy in shape of a ball. And then it's just a little bit of like a Sonic move. But with this move, if he can land successfully, he can bounce off the enemy to dive continuously on them until he's grounded. So almost similar to how Hugh Neutron has this pogo stick. Boing, 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 boing. It's so much fun to use. You can use it. It's such a good move against bulky, bigger characters like Reptar, where you can really continuously use it. I was thinking about Hugh Neutron's pogo stick move in this game. So it can work similarly like that. The devs can do it something like that in a similar fashion. So each time you successfully land it, you can bounce up and try to get him again continuously until you're grounded. See, once Hugh Neutron hits the ground with his pogo stick, it ends. He's not going to be able to bounce off the ground continuously like that. So I thought that would be a good idea for his Cannonball move. So next we have Maximum Heat. I took this from his fighting gloves for Sonic Adventure. It made me think of it a little bit. So Knuckles can gather the energy from within and release it and rush towards anyone that's in his way. And it could be like a homing attack, similar to how Sonic has a homing attack and he locks onto him. But when he charges up Maximum Heat, he's going to be already locked on target and be able to try to charge into you. So you probably have a chance to get away, but it's going to be so fast, he's going to be coming at you quick. So Maximum Heat is the next move that I end up implementing in his moveset. And then another one, I remember this from Sonic Adventure 2. I put it in the Thunder Arrow. Anybody remember that special attack? He'll say, "Now witness my power." Because when you have to fight him as a little bit of a boss, it pays tribute to the boss fight too. The Thunder Arrow that he'll be able to, or I could put Thunderbolt if I want. I just put Thunder Arrow where he can summon a ball of lightning from above to strike the enemy. And then a little bit of a super move or a special ability. Remember how I talked about earlier of his costumes of Super Knuckles and Hyper Knuckles? The devs can probably give him a super move like this to be able to be implemented as an ultimate attack. Maybe you can get a slow little introduction to ultimate attacks that could be implemented into the game. So that could be something that they can probably put together. So I put Super Knuckles or his Hyper Transformation as a special ability, so Knuckles can tap into the power of the Chaos Emeralds and deal increased damage with all his attacks, and he's going to be invincible for a limited amount of time. And the only way that you can be able to achieve this transformation is receiving like a significant amount of damage. Now a character I was thinking about is Aang, because he can't activate that avatar state until he has received a good amount of damage during the fight. So it can be implemented in the same way, in a similar fashion, with Super Knuckles or Hyper Knuckles. So they can pick one that they want, and then that way he'll be able to transform into that magenta glowing gold energy around him. They can have 2 for 1. Have that glowing gold energy around him, and he's going to be magenta, which is the color he transforms into as Hyper Knuckles. So you basically get that transformation and that super move, and then once it expires, he's not going to be able to get it anymore until, of course, during the next stock, because he's not going to probably be able to get it back when he has all that damage, and he's going to be launchable and being able to be knocked out of the ring or out of the stage. So I put that as a super move, as a little bit of an ultimate attack. And that can be introduced into the game slowly, starting with Knuckles. It just as a little bit of an idea, because he has that capability. Now his recovery, I didn't want to just put it as a little first move. His recovery, Knuckles has the ability to fly, and if you played the games and seen, he can fly in the air. So I put gliding as a recovery move, so Knuckles is going to be able to fly throughout the air, and then that way it's not just, oh, he's just gliding and flying. I just wanted to add a little bonus to it. Knuckles will be able to fly into the enemy and he'll be able to fly right into you. So you waiting for him on the edge, trying to edge guard or something like that. Once he flies into you, he's gonna be able to knock you off that edge and knock you off that stage. Well, potentially knock you away. And he can if you have a good amount of damage, he'll probably be able to knock you out and eliminate you through this gliding ability, because you can be able to fly into stuff. Because in the games, when you fly into enemies, you can still damage them and you can destroy them. So I thought this would be a good little move for him. So he'll be able to fly into stuff, destroy enemies, just to pay tribute to the games. And he'll also be able to run into Sandy and anybody else that's on the edge and be able to knock them away. So, oh, he's just flying, but he's still going to be just as deadly as in the air. So you definitely want to probably just give him some space. It sounds a little bit cheap because you can't edge guard. It's definitely going to be a good move and a good recovery that's going to be able to deal some damage. Just like Hugh on the banana with his banana recovery. And then I'm trying to think of who else can attack. Lincoln Loud's recovery when he's wearing that Ace Savvy outfit. Cat Dog. Leonardo spinning like Link and stuff like that. Just things like that. And then Nigel, you don't want to be near him. Just some of those characters that I just mentioned, you don't want to get near them and be too close, because they'll be able to do some damage when they fly right into you. And then Garfield is another one of them. It goes on and on. Shredder and many more. Ablina. So some of these characters have recovery moves that can deal damage. So Knuckles could be another one, but he'll just be able to glide into you. But those are all the moves that I came up with for this character. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I can't wait to see y'all reactions. Knuckles, I think, would be extremely powerful and easily one of the best characters in the game. They got a whole list of characters that you can see displayed on the screen that they can bring to the game. And with Paramount having the rights to the Sonic movie and having Nickelodeon, they could maybe have some negotiations to probably try to make it happen to get the movie version of Knuckles and Sonic and maybe some other of his friends to be able to get in. But Knuckles, I think, would be one of my favorite characters for sure. He's already one of my favorite Sonic characters anyway. But this request was so much fun. It was a little bit easier for me too, because I knew about Knuckles and all the different abilities and all the things that he's capable of. He could probably even have a bigger moveset and all those different things. But I really hope if he does get into the game, maybe we'll be able to get to see one of his super moves, and it can definitely introduce ultimate attacks in the game, and they can really be able to develop the moveset for these characters to unleash their ultimates. And it's gonna be, I think it'll really attract players to the game. It'll bring a lot of players playing this game for sure. But I think Knuckles will definitely be super deadly even without his super move, because he's already powerful as it is.